What's up YouTube, Cliff here from the Sunday Drive, and today we're going to show you how to go from this to this. So today we're going to be replacing this stock wheel in our buddy's 1990 Miata. As you can see, it's pretty beat up, and we're going to be replacing it with this new wheel from NRG Innovations, and we're also going to be installing it with their quick release hub and showing you guys how to hook up the horn as well. If you guys enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe. And if you want to stay in touch each time we put a video out there, hit that bell notification. All right, let's get started. Get rid of this old wheel and put a nice new one in. So here we are in the driver's seat of Finch's 1990 NA Miata, and this steering wheel has definitely seen better days. So we're going to go ahead and be swapping this out today. Now there are 4 10mm bolts, 2 up top and 2 in the bottom that hold in the airbag. Before touching anything, make sure to disconnect your battery so that you don't have to worry about this airbag deploying in your face. So that's what the nut looks like. I'm gonna rotate the steering wheel around to get the other 2. And these are not in there very tight, so it shouldn't take too much effort to get them out. Now your airbag will lift right out. So pull this out right here. It's clipped in place. So first remove the orange plug right here. And then you can go ahead and remove the airbag plug. In this case, there's actually a string holding the airbag onto the steering wheel, so I'm not sure if that's standard or not, but it is on here in this case, so just slide that off, and the airbag will be out of your way. These are the 4 holes where the bolts were going through for the airbag that we removed, so you can see these bottom 2 are on an angle and the top 2 are straight in. Now we're going to take a 21mm socket and remove the center nut. With the 21mm nut out, you can go ahead and wiggle this back and forth till it comes out. If it's stuck, you can take a rubber mallet or something and just hit on the back, but you shouldn't need a puller. We got this off, and as you can see, this one is pretty rusty. It's gotten, rained on a few times, but we were able to get it off, so there you go. There are 3 Phillips head screws that hold this plastic part together. At the very back, there is a 4th screw, another Phillips head, that you also have to remove. These are the locations of the 4 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way down here. So these first 3 are obvious, and this 4th one is a little bit harder to get to, just because it's all the way up in there. Just take your time, make sure you don't strip it out. We're going to remove this clock spring at this point. There are 3 Phillips screws in the corners holding it in place. They're small, so just take your time. We don't want to strip them. If you do plan on reusing your clock spring at any point in the future, make sure that you don't turn it more than 2.5 turns in either direction. There's a mark at the top and another mark right here. If you turn it more than that, you will damage the clock spring. All right, so here's our clock spring. If you go ahead and give that a little pull, you can see right here are 3 wires coming out of the clock spring. Now you have a couple options at this point. You could just cut the wires right here, and then we're not going to have an airbag in the new wheel, so those do not need to be reused. But the center green wire, it's green with a red stripe, can be reused for your horn. The other option is to remove the tray underneath of your wheel here, underneath the shaft, and there's the actual harness plug for this. You can disconnect that so that you could reuse or sell this clock spring in the future. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the harness, do this properly so that you guys can know how to remove this if you need to, and then we're going to run a new wire for the horn. There are 2 Phillips head screws holding this in place at the bottom. And this will just pull down. Right here are the orange and blue plugs that go up to your horn and airbag respectively. The blue plug is for your airbag, the orange one is for your horn. So this is where we're going to be disconnecting it, and then we're going to tap in to the wire, go into the horn, and run a new line up. We're going to disconnect this zip tie right here. Now we need to go ahead and remove this black hub type assembly that your blinkers and lights are in. There are 3 Phillips screws holding that in place. Pretty small screws. Now all these screws are a little different, so just keep in mind which ones go where so you're not mixing them up. All right. So the 2 larger ones are at the top and the smaller one is at the bottom. Keep in mind you want to keep this in the same orientation as it was when you took off the old wheel. This is going to help align the new wheel that we're putting on the car. All right, so we got that off. Again, just keep this in the upright position. It'll kind of stay there, or you can just put it back if it moves. This is the wire for our clock spring. You can see it's running through the center of these harnesses. They are taped together, so we're just going to undo this electrical tape right here. Very old electrical tape. If you're wondering how long electrical tape lasts, well, this car's from 1990, so you can do the math. At the back of this assembly, we just removed the clock spring. It has a ground connection right here. This will just pull out. So there's that. I just had to pinch this top clip together using some needle nose pliers so I could pull that free. And then we got some more electrical tape down here. So there we go. And again, just try not to let your clock spring rotate more than 2.5 turns in either direction. So we got these 3 connections right here. This white one is our ground wire, so we're gonna go ahead and disconnect that. This is the same type of connection that was at the top. To release the clips, go ahead and press in on this orange tab right here. It's gonna take a little bit of force and pull up on the orange. Once the orange clip is removed, you can slide this lever arm over. There's a groove, so slide that over and then pull up on the blue. To reinstall, you have to put the blue on first, and then orange will click into place. So in order to keep this installation as clean as possible, we're going to reuse this connector from the horn that was in the steering wheel. This will go right to that clip that we just disconnected underneath. So we're going to cut this here, and then we're going to reinstall this down in the footwell. So we went ahead and extended this wire right here, and I'm going to go ahead and just plug that in. Now because that blue clip is not in here, you are going to have to push this part in a little bit more to get it to go into place. There we go. And then we're just going to run this back up, zip tie these harnesses together, and then get this all reinstalled. So put a zip tie back right here, just like it was from the factory. This back in place. Again, just make sure this was in the same orientation as when you took it off. And we have our red wire routed up here that we're going to connect to our horn. And where the 2 larger screws go back up top and the smaller one goes on the bottom. So this is the connection on the clock spring, but it has the exact same connection under the steering column where we unplugged it from. So this is where we reconnected the horn underneath the steering column, and then this is where the airbag was plugged in. As you can see, there's 2 leads in there. And in order for your airbag light not to be on in the dash, you need to short these 2 connections together. So what we took was a spade connector like this. We trimmed off the rubber or plastic shielding around the sides, and then we slipped that over the 2 leads, shorting those together, and that eliminated the airbag light. So right there you can see the spade connector coming out of there, and that has those 2 lines shorted together. Go ahead and reinstall your tray right here. In order for our horn to work, we need to make a connection to this wire. To do that, we're going to mount a paper clip right to one of the old mounts for the clock spring and connect the wire to it. And then what that's going to allow us to do is have the paper clip to make constant contact to the back of the NRG hub, so that when the horn is pressed, you will have beep beep. And now, just have this lead out here, and we're just going to make sure that it has contact with the bottom of our wheel. And when you install the bottom wheel, you want to make sure that the white dot is in the upright position. It's also going to have these two clips on this white plastic piece right here snap into these two holes right there. Like so. Not as easy as it looks.
A blooper reel.
So you want to make sure you have this paper clip bent out nice and far so that it makes good contact with the back of your hub. And again, make sure you just have this white dot facing up, assuming your steering wheel was straight to start the installation. So what you want to do is keep turning this once it's tight until the wheel locks, and then you can torque it down between 29 to 36 foot-pounds or 40 to 49 newton meters. So the trim's back on, and we got the first piece of our hub in, and as you can see, if we touch the ground, which is the center shaft right here, to our horn connection at the back that's going to that paper clip, beep, you disconnected the back.
I was like, you're going to connect it, aren't you? I got this, don't worry.
So with your battery reconnected, there you go, you touch those together, you have connection. Now one thing we had to do was actually strip off a protective coating that was on the paper clip. So there's a little bit of plastic on there. So make sure you strip off the ends of your paper clip so you have a good connection. Now you take this piece, the little top hat piece, and you're going to connect your power wire to here and your ground to here. All right. Now this is all going to spin as one unit, so you don't have to really worry about how the wires are wrapped in here. So you want to make sure that you install this so that the NRG is in line with this white dot. So remember, the white dot is the top, but when we were torquing this down, the wheel rotated this far until we got to the lock position. So we're just going to install this in this orientation right here. All right, and can I have some screws, sir? This Allen key is provided with the kit. All right, now it's time to work on the steering wheel. Take this ring and install this in the top of the hub right here, and this will prevent your horn from spinning around. Next, go ahead and remove all of these bolts and nuts. You will not need to reuse the nuts, but the bolts are going to mount into the hub. All right, so Pete thinks these are screws. I think they're bolts because they go into a nut. Screws have a pointy end and they drill into something. Leave a comment below if you think these are bolts or screws.
I'm just going to overlay the word fasteners. And when you say a word, I'm going to beep it out and put fasteners. He thinks this is a beep fastener.
So just make sure your horn is oriented correctly. On your new hub, there is a silver mark right up here where the button is. This needs to go on the top of the wheel. Connect your ground and power to your horn. So there's our wheel. To remove it, you just press down on the button at the top and you slide the ring up. And that goes right on, and then that'll stay in the open position like this. And then it only goes on one way. Get it on, and we got the horn. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Speaking of comments and questions, we actually have a question for you guys. This is our second NRG quick release hub that we've installed. We also installed one on our exomotive exocet, which you can watch at the link above. But if anyone knows what these are for, we could not find references to these anywhere. We didn't need them for any part of the install. Everything obviously works well without them. We've been running without them on our exomotive exocet too, but if anyone knows, leave a comment below. We're curious. We also have another video coming on our buddy's Miata where we replace the soft top. Not sure which one's going to get edited first, but we'll have a link to that at the end of this and in the description. If you guys have any questions or comments, again, please leave them below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys, and we'll see you guys here next time. Thanks for watching.